Hello, my name is James Ellis, and today we're going to be talking about a biking automated management system, or BAMS for short. And what this biking system does, it allows us to create a system of network bikes that allow our residents to use them, and we can place these bikes, or these, if you will, hubs or docking stations at strategic locations throughout the city that we want to help in areas that we want to help reduce traffic and or pollution. Now, what we also want to do with this system is we want to make it easy for our residents to use. So we wanted to be able to give them the ability to use their cell phones to access it. They can use their home computers to access it. They can use a tablet to access it. They can use their work computer to access it. It has the ability to even allow them to reserve a bike for a certain period of time if they want. It has a membership feature that says if you're a member, you get some sort of special discount to kind of help push them along to use the service. And more importantly, we want to give people within our residence another opportunity to get from one point to the next and enjoy the view of the city, which you can't really get from an automobile. So that's the basic premise of what we want BAMS for, and we want it to do for our city. Now, how are we going to get there? Well, the organization of this process is going to be in stages. So the first piece is, when we think about it, is okay, we need to have the docking stations. So we've already started off saying that we are going to start with 5 docking stations. Again, that'll be strategically set out throughout the city. So we'll have an idea where those locations will be. And then each docking station will have 6 bikes on it. Now, the reason why we pick 6 bikes is because we want to ensure that when someone returns a bike, there's a place to dock that bike. So as we see that one biking station is being overutilized, we may either choose to expand it by adding another docking station, or we may choose to move it because maybe some sites are being underutilized. So we have a little bit of flexibility. So these biking stations will be somewhat mobile and allow us to move them around if we need to. Now, these docking stations also will have the ability, again, for the customer to sign up, create a membership if they want right then and there, set up their account, set up their credit card, change their credit card information at the biking center, so they can do all that, or they can just do it all directly off their phone. Now, when we think about how these biking stations are going to be connected, they're going to be connected to a server, and the primary server, however, will also store all of the customer information. So the biking station is nothing more than a place that's just like a web interface, but everything else that's happening in the background will live on the server at the primary server store or station that we set up. Now, the server station will again hold the customer information. It'll also process all of the payments that are being made by the customer, and at the same time it will also have all the backups and the backups to the cloud. So we have a dual backup, the server backup, and backing that data again up against the cloud. Now, when we think about how do we get all of these things to talk to each other, we're going to be using AT&T wireless networking system. The reason why we choose that networking system is because AT&T is probably one of the most reliable, commercial networking systems out there. And secondly, because it's scalable. We only need to build it out as we need it. We can talk about in the future, depending on how successful this is, and whether we want to add other features inside there and maybe go to some form of city network. But initially, since we don't have a city network set up in our city right now, we are going to start off with a off-the-shelf version of it through AT&T. Now, with setting up this network and having this whole infrastructure put together, the one thing we got to think about next is how are we going to secure all of this information and making sure that our customers' information is secure, that our biking information and routes that are being taken and what our customers are doing, and all that data is staying in a secure environment. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to secure our network. Now, how we're going to do that is we're going to create a a firewall application, which basically is a cloud-based web application firewall for our SD-WAN network. And that way it should make it more difficult for our, I guess you can say, hackers to try to penetrate and get our data. The other thing we're going to also do on top of it is with all of our customers, we all should be kind of normal to see two-factor authentication now, because almost all of our credit card companies are doing this, and even some of the utility companies are even going to this. So we are going to go ahead and add this feature into our product to ensure that our customers are, whenever they change their information, whether it just be an address, a phone number, more importantly, again, definitely a credit card information, that they have to go through this two-factor authentication to ensure that they are who they are and they can't see someone else's data inside there. The other thing that we're going to also do inside there is we're going to include on the server what we call an SSH key. And this SSH key authentication basically is I guess you can say it's a more secure way of ensuring that the server can't be accessed, because this key is constantly being changed every day. And if you don't have access to that, then you can't access the server. So it keeps it pretty secure and locked down. And again, as I talked about earlier, our backup on the server will occur, as well as our backup onto the cloud. So we'll have two levels of backup to ensure that the server is being backed up. Up on top of the server itself will be housed in a facility that is guarded 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, has I guess because it can't security cameras, it has environmental controls to ensure the server doesn't overheat. So basically the server will be in a very secure place that's going to store all this information for our customers. The data on the server, however, can also be used for analyzing, routes. Again, like we said, when we say, is this docking station at its most efficient location based on what we're seeing our customers are doing. So we can use the data on the server, because all that'll be on the server. And we can also look at this for, I guess, a sales division to kind of determine, are we targeting the right market? We can use this for marketing based on the data we're collecting from our customers, because we have the customer data set up to where it's just not your name, address, and phone number. Well, customers who become members, we ask them to go a little bit further, and we're asking them that they have to include age, date, sex, all those kind of things that we want to know, marriage, number of kids. This kind of helps us determine, who are we seeing use the bike mostly? Who do we need to probably target? If we feel like that we're targeting the wrong people, how do we get that information out to them? So the server, again, will hold all this information for the marketing team to kind of figure out, what can we do to improve the process, as well as ensure the message is getting out there that this service exists. Now, to get this thing kicked off, we're going to have to do a couple of key things here. So the first thing we need to do is we need to complete the design of BAMS and get sign off. So, like anything else, if you don't get the sign off from the stakeholders, then basically you may go down the road of fixing something or putting something together and then finding out, oh, your stakeholders didn't sign off it, or a stakeholder you should have signed off it didn't sign off it, so you're not going to meet your deadline. So very key that we get the process together and we get it out to the stakeholders and get their sign off. The next thing we want to do is we want to align with our vendors. We need to know who the software vendors are, who's going to be developing what, get with our banks, make sure our banks understand that, hey, we're expecting them to work with us and get this thing going, and who are they that we're going to have them processing the credit card payments through. And of course, like we said, we're going to be using an off-the-shelf AT&T as our networking service, so obviously we need to get aligned with them as getting that set up. The other thing we're going to do is that what we're going to do is, when we set this up, we're going to break this up into stages. We're not going to just put all 5 docking stations out there at one time. We're going to build a single docking station. We're going to get it up and going. We're going to make sure that we can check bikes in and out. We're going to make sure that we can talk to it through the web, through our iPhones, through tablets, whatever the case may be. Once we're satisfied that docking station is running fully functional and we can see customers can actually access it, then we're going to try to get the secondary docking station up, and that way we have at least 2. And then if that's successful, we'll move on to 3, and so on. And that way we're always making sure that we don't leave a docking station halfway up, that each docking station is being brought up line and confirmed that we can actually work. Once that all kicks off, then basically we have a full BAMS system running, and we can start monitoring it and expanding it or growing it as we need to. That's our BAMS system. Thank you very much.